Since October 7th, the media has dutifully reported Israeli propaganda word for word with zero evidence. The accusation of 40 babies being beheaded was proven to be a lie. US media is still running with it. The accusations of mass sexual assault were proven to be a lie. The media hasn't walked that one back either. The Hamas headquarters under hospitals? A lie. Literally every accusation Israel has made has turned out to be a complete fabrication. And yet the media still twist themselves into knots to let Israel off the hook. Why? Starvation is stalking Gaza's children. Okay, at first glance that seems alright. It recognizes that children in Gaza are starving. What's the issue here? I bet you can guess. It doesn't address the critical question of why they're starving. People don't just randomly starve en masse. It leaves out that teeny little bit of information that Israel is purposefully starving these people. They control the roads in and out of Gaza. They have blocked humanitarian aid for months. They have opened fire on children swimming out into the ocean to retrieve airdrop supplies. At time of writing, the world just witnessed what will be called by future generations the Flower Massacre, where Israeli troops lured Palestinians to a vital food drop, then butchered them, killing over 100 people and wounding 700 more. There's a picture circulating of a parcel of flour soaked in blood, which people are calling the most expensive bag of flour in human history. Palestinians have been forced to resort to eating grass, animal feed, giving newborns a date wrapped in cloth to suck on, anything to give them a little sustenance. And of course, these people are dying. This is Israel's doing. It is intentional. It is a war crime. So when the New York Times, the most respected paper on earth, leaves out that critical piece of information, it lets Israel off the hook for genocide. A responsible headline would be, Israel is starving Gaza's children. And while we're on the subject of the Flower Massacre, it's sickening to see perhaps the most blatant war crime yet get twisted to avoid naming the perpetrators. Here's the New York Times on the event. Live updates. In chaotic Gaza scene, many are killed and wounded as Israelis open fire. This is another one where the average person might think this is an acceptable, if strangely worded, headline. Let's break it down. What happened? Starving Palestinians were baited into a killing field by much-needed food aid and then were butchered by Israeli troops. How would you spin that? Instead of saying massacre, you could use chaotic scene. You're not technically lying, massacres are chaotic. Instead of citing the death and injury statistics, you could just say many. That makes it more palatable. Then instead of explicitly saying the occupation forces targeted and shot the starving people, you could simply say they opened fire, helping stoke the misconception that people were killed not by Israeli troops, but in a stampede. This is journalistic malpractice at its best. You maintain plausible deniability while completely obfuscating the reality of the event. A responsible headline would be, Massacre in Gaza. 100 killed, 700 wounded as IDF fire on starving Palestinians assembling to receive food aid. It gets all the facts across, it's just as concise, and it doesn't let the perpetrator off the hook. But the New York Times isn't alone in obfuscating the truth of this story. There are countless other examples. The Associated Press doesn't mention Israel, neither does Forbes, or Voice of America. USA Today even repeats Israeli lies despite video evidence of what happened. But perhaps most egregious is the BBC's headline. Israel-Gaza war. More than 100 killed as crowd waits for aid, Hamas-run health ministry says. This is truly reprehensible. Not only do they not mention that the IDF were the murderers, they also disingenuously call the genocide a war, and they manage to squeeze big scary Hamas into a story that has nothing to do with Hamas. All the BBC is trying to do here is scare people by invoking the name of the current Western boogeyman.